What's up, Star Wars nerds, and welcome to another episode of Brett on Fett. On today's episode, we'll take a close look at the new Kanan Jarrus figure for the Vintage Collection. Plus, it's episode 100 of my channel, so I'll be doing another giveaway. Let's get to it. Welcome back to the channel. This is episode 100 of Brett on Fett. Now, although I say it is episode 100, it doesn't mean it's necessarily my 100th video, because I'm not counting my hyperdrive videos or shorts or best ofs, those sort of things. So what I really mean is it's episode 100 of my full-length format of episodes. But it's an excuse to celebrate and give something away. So what I'm going to be giving away is the Captain Enoch figure. Like so many people who are buying multiples of the Night Troopers pack, I have an extra Enoch that I have no use for, so I figured I might as well give him away. And what I'll also be doing is throwing in 2 or 3 random mystery figures to go with Captain Enoch on his way to the winner. So stick around to the end of this video where I will give the details on how you can enter to win that prize. Now for this episode, I'm going to review the new Kanan Jarrus figure for the Vintage Collection, but I also want to talk a little bit about the Rebels figures for TVC in general. Now, we just, of course, wrapped up a campaign for the Cantina HasLab. We still haven't received our Ghost HasLab, and those should be arriving sometime in the fall. Very excited to receive that awesome ship, and of course, it's going to come with 4 of the Rebels crew on those awesome mural card backs. And then of course we got the opportunity to order Sabine and Chopper from Rebels on those same mural card backs to go with the rest of the crew. So we're gonna have 6 in all. Now me personally, I'm going to be leaving those on cards. So I was very happy to see that Hasbro started releasing other versions of the Rebels crew on regular card backs at retail. Now they kicked things off with the first Rebels release for TVC, that being Grand Admiral Thrawn, awesome figure. And then they followed that up with several Rebels characters, but in their Ahsoka live action forms, that being Ahsoka herself, Hera Syndulla, Sabine Wren, Chopper, and most recently Ezra Bridger. And of course we also had that awesome release of Zeb Aurelius on a Rebels Deluxe box. And that is a fantastic figure. I highly recommend you pick that one up. Now this past week I got Ezra Bridger on the Ahsoka series, and I got Kanan Jarrus on the Rebels card back, both arriving in the mail around the same time. And I want to do a full review on Kanan Jarrus in particular, because I think he's going to be just an awesome figure. He looks to be fantastic. All right, before we get to Kanan, I did mention earlier that I also got Ezra Bridger in the mail. Now, I've only got the one, and this is the one that I will keep carded. Just as an FYI, the way I typically buy my TVC is I will buy one as an opener, usually through Amazon Prime, because I get free shipping, and I don't care that they're going to mess up the packaging. And then I will buy one through Big Bad Toy Store, where I specify collector grade. And if you don't know, collector grade through Big Bad Toy Store is where you pay a few dollars more to guarantee that your packaging is mint. So from the stock they receive from Hasbro, they hand select the best condition figures and set those aside a certain amount so they can actually sell out of collector grade, because it needs to meet a certain standard in order for them to sell it that way. And I believe that collector grade through Big Bad Toy Store is still your best option for giving you the best chance at getting a truly mint package figure, at least if you're in North America. Yes, you're paying $3 more than your average retailer. However, I think it's worth it if you can pretty much guarantee the packaging will arrive mint, and you have to consider their shipping is a flat rate at $4, so it's way cheaper than, say, Entertainment Earth, and you don't have to pay for some kind of membership like you would with Hasbro Pulse. And I think their track record, at least with collector grade, is way better than Pulse. I've had plenty of things arrive from Pulse that were very damaged. So I've been using collector grade from Big Bad Toy Store for at least 2 to 3 years for most of my figures that I intend to keep carded. And in all that time, there's only been a few cases that I can recall where I was disappointed in the condition. And in those cases, it was an issue of some minor edge wear on the card. But for the first time ever since I've been using this service, I received a figure with the infamous bubble rub Ring of Death. And this is not a good sign because even my Vader and Leia from collector grade survived the Ring of Death, but Ezra did not. And I know a lot of you got Vaders and Leias with Rings of Death, including myself. The ones I got from Amazon all had Rings of Death. The Stormtrooper had Ring of Death. And so this is way too prevalent right now. This is maybe worse than when the Ring of Death first came about back a couple years ago when they switched over to the thicker, better cardstock. And so it's just a real shame that Hasbro has allowed for this to creep back into the line again. It seems like something that would be very easily preventable, whether that be the insertion of tissue paper in between the figures in the shipper box or just a slightly bigger shipping box. I don't know what the solution is, but there has to be a solution. I mean, this can be devastating to mint on card collectors and retailers that guarantee mint cards like Big Bad Toy Store collector grade. I heard Star Action Figures received entire stock of certain figures that all came with the bubble rub and had to send those back to Hasbro because they guarantee mint and they didn't want to be selling their customers bubble rubbed figures. Now I haven't decided if I'm going to return this to Big Bad Toy Store or not because, well, they're out of stock of their collector grade figures for Ezra. And so I know if I return it, I'm not going to get one back. And at this point, may even risk getting something in worse condition from another retailer. So, you know, it's kind of like, what's the point? And also, a part of me doesn't want to punish Big Bad Toy Store for something that is Hasbro's fault. They have a great track record with me personally, great customer service. And so I'm sure they did the best they could to get me the best figure possible when they went to fill my order. But that being said, probably the most effective way to get the message across to Hasbro is for me to return this item to Big Bad Toy Store and in turn have them return it to Hasbro for being damaged. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Either way, I will be keeping this particular one mint on card for now. My opener version from Amazon has already shipped but not yet arrived. So I'll be keeping this one on card for this video. Ring of Death aside, I'm not a big fan of this card back. I just don't think the image is great. I get why they used it so they could use this mold for both the Rebels series and Ahsoka, but I'm just not feeling that card back. Taking a look at the figure, I'll know better how good a figure this is once I get him in hand. But the mold looks really good. I'm not a big fan of the face sculpt, and this may just be me personally. It's not like it's horrible or anything. There's just something about it that looks a little bit too cartoonish. And although I realize this is based on a cartoon, they're trying to go for a more realistic interpretation. And in particular, since this is the Ahsoka version, it should be based on the live action, actor. And it definitely does not look like the actor in this case. So I really think they should have gone ahead and put this on a Rebels card back, just like they did with Thrawn. They gave us the Rebels version of Thrawn, and they've already announced they're going to be giving us the live action version, which is going to have more of a resemblance to the actor in that case. So they should have just done the same thing with Ezra. All right, so let's get to Kanan, and here he is. And right off the bat, this is a fantastic card back. I love the image they chose here. This looks great. You got the green name pill, and there's that image. Now, unfortunately, there is the Ring of Death as well, but this one did come from Amazon. This is my opener, so not a big deal to me, but still concerning about that. The figure in the bubble looks fantastic. We'll take a closer look in a sec. It is VC318, and there is the description on the back. There we go with that new style. I'm not certain this green they chose to use for the name pill and the figure pill was the best choice. They usually do an awesome job of selecting those colors. I think maybe a purple may have worked better or something else. I'm just not feeling that green, but the card back is excellent. All right, so here is everything out of the packaging. Let's start with the accessories. He comes with this blaster pistol. I know I've seen this particular pistol with another action figure before. I just can't quite remember which one right now. And here is his unlit lightsaber. Always nice to have that as a separate accessory as opposed to having to take the blade off the hilt. And here is the lit lightsaber. And looks pretty good. Everything looks fairly accurate to me. And let's take a close look at the figure itself. Right away, I love this head sculpt. It's a great, realistic interpretation of Kanan Jarrus. I like the man bun on the back. And I love the paint job on his armor here, his pauldron, all the way down to his wrist. It is a metallic dark green. I don't know if that's coming through on camera, but it's really nice. The molding for his pauldron strap and also his belt and holster all look really good. A lot of detail there with the molding. And check out his boots. These look excellent. I like the pattern on there. I like the paint job. Everything about the boots are really good. So overall, very impressed with the look of this figure. And here's how he looks with his lightsaber in his hand, and also his unlit lightsaber on the belt, and his gun in the holster, so everything looks like it belongs, looks great. And he passes the two-handed saber test. Every Jedi these days should be able to hold their lightsaber with two hands. He has no problem doing that. Alright, so now let's run through the articulation. The head is on a barbell, which is great. Plenty of range of motion, and you can slide his head forward and back. At the shoulder, he has a ball hinge, and this allows him to lift his arm all the way up, so plenty of motion there. However, on his right side, he's got that pauldron there. Now, you can get the arm up, but it has to bend that pauldron. And you could do that, but it just probably looks bad. But you can also spin his arm all the way around. So, as good as you can get for that situation. At the elbow, you got another ball hinge, and he gets just past 90 degrees. And then you got a swivel wrist with what I call a vertical hinge. Perfect for lightsaber wielders. So everything is all good with the arms there. And moving down to the waist, this is on a ball socket, so plenty of motion there. And at the crunch, you can see the angles he can get are very good. He's got barbell hips, of course, which is great. A swivel at the upper thigh. You got a ball hinge at the knee that gets 90 degrees, and a standard hinge at the ankles. And it does have rocker ankles, of course, but they are a little bit tight, so you do have to work them out to get full use of them at first. So fantastic articulation, as you'd expect with an all-new figure. Now, just for fun, I thought I'd bring in the last Kanan Jarrus figure we got in 3 3/4. This was my son's Kanan. I think this is from 2014. It was from the Rebels line. And, they did a pretty good job with these. They looked a lot like the characters in the show. One thing that's kind of funny to me is the gun is actually molded into the holster. It cannot be removed. And it makes sense. This was a 5 POA line targeted towards kids, so why not reduce the amount of hazards? And overall, I think they did a great job of capturing the look of the animated character in this figure. But of course, 5 POA is not okay, so a breath of fresh air to finally have Kanan in the Vintage Collection now. So let's show off that articulation by getting him into some poses on the spinny spinny. So here's a look at all the Rebels inspired figures we have so far. Of course, Hera, Chopper, and Sabine are from their Ahsoka versions, but we do have Rebels versions on the way. And overall, I think they've done an excellent job with these. I think the Rebels subline is off to a great start. The really only issue I can think of with any of these is the Sabine helmet failure, where the helmet was just entirely too big. But we've seen that they're already rectifying that with the Hasbro Pulse release 2-pack of Sabine and Chopper. They have changed that to an interchangeable head. And aside from that, there's really nothing to complain about regarding the figures themselves. Now, there is one glaring issue so far, and that is we have some Season 1 Rebels characters here, but not a Season 1 Ezra. So I think that is the first need to address, and I think they could do that with some partial new tooling and a new head sculpt. And from there, I'd like to see them give us a Rebels version of the Inquisitor, not with an animated face, a more realistic interpretation, but just a Rebels version as opposed to the Obi-Wan Kenobi series version. And then followed by at least the 7th sister and the 5th brother. To me, those were the two most prominent Inquisitors featured on the show. But again, they're off to a great start, and just to circle back to Kanan, this is an excellent figure. I don't think they really could have done a better job. I see nothing to complain or criticize about this figure at all. And although I can't say he is a better figure than Zeb, I can definitely say that he will be in my top 5 TVC figures of the year. Alright, so like I said at the beginning of this video, it is my 100th episode, and I wanted to do another giveaway. And I'm going to be giving away the brand new Captainenoch figure. Now, I'm not going to be including the Night Troopers that came with that pack. I will be keeping those for myself, but I will be throwing in 3 random mystery figures to go along with Enoch to the winner. Now, all you have to do to enter to win is 1, be a subscriber to my channel, 2, like this video, and 3, leave a comment with the hashtag #IWantEnoch at the end of your comment. You gotta leave hashtag #IWantEnoch to be entered into the drawing to win the prize. and I will ship the prize out to anyone in the world. Alright, so that's going to do it for this episode of Brett on Fett. Let me know in the comments what you think about the brand new Kanan Jarrus figure. Thanks for checking out this video. Thank you so much to my subscribers. Don't forget you can also follow me on Instagram. Take care, and we'll see you next time.